for the official weigh-in for our huge fight card taking place here on Saturday night for the Unified Heavyweight Championship of the World. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with 258 Management. We're sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, Lannistar, AO.com, and JD Sports. All bouts will be sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. We have a great undercard, so we're going to go ahead and start there. Introducing up first, an 8-round super bantamweight affair, making his way to the stage from Bristol. He's the former Midlands area and Commonwealth super bantamweight champion, Ash the Flash. Please welcome Ashley, the Flash Lane. Lane.
Bristol's Ashley Lane's just turned 30 years of age, went 12 with Brad Foster for the Commonwealth and British Super Bantamweight titles last year, was stopped in that final round, put on a brave performance.
122.4 pounds for Ash the Flash.
This one, of course, at Super Bantamweight, so he's just a shade over that. 122.4 pounds was the...
and his opponent now making his way to the stage. He's a southpaw with a record of 8 wins, 1 defeat. He has 3 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Leeds. He's the 2016 Olympian and former WBA Continental Super Bantamweight champion, Ashfaq.
I don't reckon
Ashfaq.
there's anyone in boxing who's desperate to get back in the ring more than Kez. You know, you just want to right that last wrong. You want to end the year with a win. And he'd be desperate to get in the ring on Saturday night, Chris.
Yeah, it was a bad night at the office against Mark Leach. Said he got too emotionally involved there. He was looking to show...
124.25 pounds. 124.25 for Ashfaq.
Show a more mature, calmer version of the man we saw in the ring. And spoke to him yesterday and said... kind of felt like he was stuck in between 2 styles. Hasn't really been working with Angel Fernandez that long. Angel's a phenomenal coach, really knows the ins and outs of boxing, and just hasn't maybe had the time. And when things got tough, Kez kind of reverted to type a little bit, and it wasn't the best of him at all. We know there's more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. He was at times waiting too much, then falling over his front foot, and like you say, really in between styles.
Ashfaq v. Lane, 8-round super bantamweight Saturday night, getting us kicked off. And you can catch this fight on Sky Sports Facebook and YouTube channels. Afternoon, 8 rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing up first to the stage to weigh in, fighting out of Stoke-on-Trent. His young professional record thus far perfect, 2-0. Please welcome Jamie Stewart. Stewart. 145.9 pounds for Jamie Stewart, the young undefeated charge from Stoke-on-Trent. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He's a southpaw, also undefeated. 7 fights, 7 victories, 5 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of London, England by way of Albania. Please welcome Florian, the Albanian King, Marku.
Well, I think it's fair to say, from what we've heard, we'll really see the extent of this man's following when crowds are allowed back in full next year. He was a real star on the kickboxing scene as a professional. Looking in very good shape.
He must be a tad over, Chris, to ask him to take his mask off. Every little helps. Looks in great shape though, doesn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. He doesn't look out of shape on any level. He looks almost slightly surprised that he's come in a tad over there. So I think they're now going to bring the towel in and he'll debrief, as they say.
Debrief, good one, like that.
Good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Marku when the fans are allowed back in, because they will make a racket. An absolute
146.95 pounds for the undefeated Florian Marku.
Heavy boxers.
Yeah.
There's the double meaning. There was.
Yeah.
Hope you got that. Yeah. So Florian Marku, 146.9. Nothing to spare, but looking great and ready to put on a big show. He's been talking all week. Had a little bit of back and forth with Okolie and McGowan yesterday on social media. They nearly ended up sharing a hotel room late last night.
Yeah. I think you could have a row of his shadow.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Yeah.
He's just this close to a fight. I just think he wants to. He's desperate to get in there, Chris.
Yeah, there's a bit of Alan Babbage about him, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%.
He'll get himself hyped up for any opponent that's in his way, regardless of how nice or courteous
He's just a
they are.
wrecking ball.
Yeah. They are talking about potential of Marku fighting Ryland Charlton next year. Obviously, there's a bit of clamour to see him fight somebody like a Conor Bent. I think Conor's a little bit further on in his career, though, at this point, Darren, and that might not make sense from a promotional standpoint.
I just think Marku's got to really, move on with his career, get a few more wins under his belt before he can sort of ask for those sort of opportunities.
Florian Marku versus Jamie Stewart, 8 rounds welterweight, Saturday night. We go with our next contest of the afternoon, 10 rounds in the super welterweight division. Now making his way to the stage, 14 victories against 1 defeat. He has 1 draw and 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Wythenshawe, please welcome to the stage, Macaulay McGowan.
Started his career at Jimmy Egan's gym in Wythenshawe as an amateur. Jimmy's son, Steve and Sean, were running the place. He trained alongside a very young Tyson Fury, who produced a number of really good pros.
158.45 pounds for McGowan.
He's a character, Chris, he really is. The Bee, as he's been called in himself.
But he might get stung on Saturday night, because he's in with, I think, a more ferocious puncher than Kieran Conway's given credit for.
And his opponent now making his way to the stage, 15-1-1 with 3 knockouts. He's the reigning WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight Champion, fighting out of Northampton. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kieran Conway.
One thing's for sure, when you see Kieran today on the scales, if you was, when you see him in the ring tomorrow, he's a completely different person. He looks twice the size. He really does fill up, but still looks in great nick.
Yeah.
160 bang on, 160 pounds for 2 class, Kieran Conway.
Yeah, so you can expect him to put on just over a stone between now and tomorrow night. He said he'll be a light heavyweight, he says.
That's incredible. I'd done that once at middleweight. I was 14 pounds over, exactly a stone, and I felt terrible. But it's amazing how some of these guys...
Well, Canelo is famous for it.
Exactly. They can go in there and they're still as sharp as ever. And he's certainly one of those, Conway.
Yeah, very strong, very powerful.
Really developing, isn't he, Chris?
He is,
He's getting that man strength, really sitting down on his shots now. And against Mansouri, I thought he looked very good.
Yeah, he did. 15-1 and 1 now. One of those, the one draw, of course, is to Ted Cheeseman. That was really where he announced himself on the domestic scene to people who hadn't been following him previously to that. And showed that he's ready for the likes of Fowler, Fitzgerald, and of course Ted Cheeseman himself. So there is the face-off. 10 rounds at super welterweight tomorrow night on Sky Sports box office. Kieran Conway on the left of your screen, Macaulay McGowan on the right.
Conway v. McGowan, 10 rounds super welterweight Saturday night, SSE Arena, Wembley. Really cannot wait for, could be one of the sleepers on the card. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant WBC International Heavyweight Championship. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing in association with World of Boxing and 258 Management. Now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 15 victories, 1 defeat, 1 no contest. He has 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of St. Petersburg, Russia, he's the former WBA Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, introducing Sergey Kuzmin. Kuzmin.
Somebody that's followed a lot in the amateurs post-2010, beat some really top heavyweights, guys like Ivan Ditchko, Mihai Nistor, Zhang Jilei, who fought Joshua at 2012, won the Europeans in 2010, silver in 2013 in Minsk. Really only lost to the very best, guys like Anthony Joshua, Felix Savon, and of course Fraser Clark, the 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Who no doubt looking to turn pro after a delayed Tokyo Olympics.
258.45 pounds, 258.45 for Sergey Kuzmin.
Very big, very solid heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a lump, Chris. He really is.
Big
lad.
Yeah.
For me, I've said it, fight of the night. I just think styles are really going to gel.
And now his opponent making his way to the stage, his professional record, 15 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 12 big wins coming by way of knockout. He's the former IBO Continental Heavyweight Champion, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and now living, training, and fighting out of Airdrie, Scotland, Martin Bakole. Bakole.
Well, Billy Nelson and I were talking this morning about the future potential if AJ wanted to do a homecoming fight in Nigeria, that this man could well be the opponent to do it. It would be huge for the country, for the continent of Africa, and the kind of money it would generate and the buzz it would create. He feels he's the man to step up and challenge a guy who he's done a lot of training with and considers to be a friend as well.
251.4 pounds for Martin Bakole, 251.4.
251.4. Billy Nelson believes the key to this is going to be speed on Bakole's part on Saturday night.
I would agree with that. Not just of hand, the reactions, but feet are so important. If he can take that step back, make Kuzmin fall short, and come back with his big overhand rights that he throws. Got an unorthodox style, Bakole, but it's very effective. Such a big puncher. A good all-rounder. But Kuzmin knows how important a win here is, especially in this booming division.
Martin Bakole, Sergey Kuzmin, 10 rounds for the vacant WBC International Heavyweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now set to weigh in our next bout of the evening, and it's presented by Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with EC Boxing and 258 Management. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in the heavyweight division. Introducing up first to the stage, his professional record, 36 victories against 6 defeats. He has 19 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Krakow, Poland. He's the former WBC International Heavyweight Champion and the former world title challenger and the reigning Polish International Heavyweight Champion. Please welcome the Viking, Mariusz Wach. Making his way to the stage, his professional record, 24 victories, 3 defeats, 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He's the former British and WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, fighting out of Manchester, England, Hughie Fury.
You can certainly see this one going late into the contest. I mean, when you look at Wach's history, I mean, he was stopped late by, it was Alexander Povetkin that stopped him late. Jarrell Miller stopped him in 9, really had to stick it on him though. But when he has been beaten, he's been beaten mainly by the top guys after Spilko on a split decision. Of course, Bakole did take him out in the 8th round, but these are guys that are heavy, thick set guys that can really whack, and that hasn't been a hallmark of Hughie's career so far.
247.3 pounds for Hughie Fury, 247.3.
Yeah, he's very smart, isn't he, Hughie? He knows how to box really well. Got a good boxing brain, and he will take his time.
That, I think, Darren, 247.3 is the heaviest that Hughie Fury has ever come in. He was 238.5 against Pavel Sauer, 224 against Povetkin, and he just wasn't big enough or thick set enough against Povetkin. But I mean, he's still a big man, Fury. He's probably still 6'5", maybe 6'6", and he is kind of dwarfed there by Mariusz. But he will have to use that speed in and out, and those sharp hands, but starting to fill into the weight.
Mariusz Wach, 10 rounds heavyweights, Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now come time
He's ready to weigh
in the chief support for Saturday night's huge night of boxing action. And this fight is being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with Rocky Boxing Promotions and 258 Management. 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant WBO International Cruiserweight Championship. Introducing up to the stage first, professional record, undefeated, 19-0, 1 draw, 1 no decision, 1 no contest. He has 9 wins coming by way of knockout. He's the Polish International Cruiserweight Champion, fighting out of Kościerzyna, Poland. Please welcome Nikodem Jędrzejewski.
Jędrzejewski came in at 198.75 pounds against Marek Prochaska in October, so he's made the weight very recently. He's been active, and although this is short notice, I think that for him, the fact that he's oiled the wheels in a year where so many haven't been able to get out, it is probably quite important. And actually, just looking at his physique, he looks really, really good.
Looks in great nick, and look, anyone who comes up against Okolie is going to look a lot smaller, but he looks in great shape. And look, he'll be looking at this fight thinking, if I can win this, Glavaki in our national stadium.
Do you know what? He doesn't look like a guy that's been out of the gym at all.
He doesn't,
wow.
does he?
And they say stay ready in boxing. It's been
199.7 pounds for Jędrzejewski. 199.7.
Yeah, so stay ready in boxing, don't they? It's the most important thing. And this year, of all years, when there have been so many dropouts and people failing COVID tests, as is the case for this fight, if you are ready, when the phone rings, you can answer it. And well, fair play to him in a short space of time, looking in great nick, making the weight, and we have a fight.
And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He's a 2016 Olympian. He has a perfect professional record, 14 fights, 14 victories, 11 of them coming by way of knockout. He's the former British, Commonwealth, European, and WBA Continental Champion, fighting out of Hackney, London. Please welcome Lawrence "The Sauce" Okolie.
Well, last win was securing victory for the EBU European title against Yves Ngarbu, who I think another fighter that felt he was going to get on the inside, rough him up and out-muscle him, and quite honestly didn't get anywhere near doing that. And another example of whether you've liked Okolie's style or not in the last 2 or 3 years, and he himself said to us yesterday, he knows he's had flaws, he's had to correct, but he's also proven to be a very, very difficult man to beat.
Absolutely, and Shane McGowan, we hear from Okolie and others that he's really stopping him from holding. He's 2 in, 2 out when it comes to sparring.
Yeah, so he can't wear people down.
199.8 pounds for the sauce, Lawrence Okolie.
see behind Eddie Hearn the two men on the backboard that are readying themselves backstage in just about 6 or 7 minutes time to weigh in ahead of a big main event to finish the year. Matchroom Boxing UK on Saturday night live on Sky Sports Box Office and The Zone. Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev. There is Lawrence Okolie and Nikodem Yezevsky. And there's the 258 medallion.
Bakole v. Yezevsky, 12 rounds for the vacant WBO International Cruiserweight Championship.
One of them's given to all of the